Well, today I would like to play around with CSS grids. So there's Flexbox, which you might know. Which is basically layouting in one column, and grid was defined after there was Flexbox, and it's basically going in two directions, in columns and rows, and it's pretty powerful. And I want to look into that on my page. So this is my current not so nice setup. So basically I have here a list of entries, and well, that's just the native list styling. I already started with that, but let's look inside. And you might see that here you also have in the browser dev console, you have here these bubbles in Chromium, and in Firefox you have this as well, where you can basically toggle on the visual mode for grid and Flexbox. So I will already start with that, but let's go there from the ground up. So the first thing for grid is basically to define, oh, you can't see it because my face is in front. Well, let's move my put me out of the window. So basically you can see here on the right hand side we have display grid, which is the first thing to make a container a grid container. So if I toggle this, you see it's going the normal native way of block items. And then what I did is basically to say what they call grid template columns, and I say I want to have 3 equal columns. Let's also open GIMP here because I need to draw a bit. Okay. Okay. So basically what I want is to have, I start with 3 equal columns. So basically I have my container. Oh, now my drawing skills are showing up, and I basically want to have 3 equal columns. Are they equal like this? And basically by saying that, you can use a new unit, which is fraction, FR. So this is one fraction, this is one fraction, and this is one fraction of the whole dimension. So in the sense of columns, it's by the width. And that's basically it. And then I basically set grid gap, which is the spacing between these dotted lines here. So I could also increase that. That goes also in 2 directions, so in columns and rows. And that's pretty much it. And the rest that you see in the overlay is basically the index of the separate columns. So this is the first column, second column, third column, or index 3, index 4. It's the end of the container basically. And the same goes for rows. So first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Well, it's a bit unnatural, I would say, but that's how it is. It's basically the start of the row, end of the row. And they do the same, the reverse order from the bottom right corner to the top and to the left with negative index. And this might be also helpful because you might also say that you want to have a particular list item to span from the first to the third index or something like that. But well, I put me back in here. Hello. So let's see. And actually what I want to do, let me move this out again. So these are my blog posts, and I actually would like to have the latest ones bigger, more visual important than the older ones, because this looks a bit you're getting distracted by a lot of things, and you don't have a clear picture of what's going on. So what I was actually thinking of is some kind of layout like this that, I don't know, that I basically have two, I cannot draw, that the latest two blog posts are visually the most important ones, and then below there might be more, which go like that and so on. I'm still not 100% sure about this idea, but well, you get the idea. Yeah, and I'm trying to do that and quit. And the most important thing is, I could also extract the first two blog posts into another DOM elements, but I actually want to do this within grid, so that everything stays between inside an OL element, in one OL element and not multiples. So how to do that? How can we do this? Let's go here and open my file where I did these things. I think here. Well, this has to move again anyway, but so right now we use quit template columns, and also I made this into media query because if we start small, let's extract this thing for a moment. If we start small, I don't need flexbox here. Basically this can stay as a native ordered list in native styling, at least for me right now. And then basically as soon as we go bigger, then there's the switch to being a quit. So let's see, how can we do this? Let's put this back here. So actually, as you can see, this approach here of having 3 equal columns is no longer working. Or maybe it is, but let's see how many columns we anyhow need. And it's actually pretty much clear because, well, we need at least 4 columns because we have these 4 entries. So basically, let's make this yellowish. So we basically need these these 4 columns, and these are basically going to be the rows. So it's also clear that maybe the first row needs to be larger, but I hope that this works out on Grid itself. So at least we need 4 rows, 4 columns. And now when I refresh, so now we have 4. And as far as I know, if you have the same value multiple times, you can use the repeat functionality. 4 times 1FR, is it like that? I hope it's like that, or it's switched the other way around. Oh, it's working. So we repeat 4 times the one fraction. I do 5 times, I have 5 columns. Okay, in principle that's already nice. And then I want to have the first and second item larger. Or basically I want to, what do I want? I want to have the first and second item to basically have a span of 2 columns. So I want them to take up 2 columns in size. And well, a card item or list item is basically this class. How do I select the first one? Well, this one is easy. List item first child. No, not 2 columns, because it's not a pseudo element, it's a pseudo selector. Look at this, it's Copilot reading my notes, reading my thoughts. Okay, this goes in the right direction. So now the first item, let's give them a background blue. You see, well, the colors are not very accessible, sorry. First item takes up 2 columns. And I say it should start at the first column. So this is the index of the column. So if I would say 2, you would see it would start at 2 and the first one will stay empty because well, it goes basically like this, now the flow of grid. Unless I say to another item grid column one. Oh, then it goes in the next line in the first one, but it never switches positions. But I could say grid column is the first one and the grid row is also the first one. So there's different syntax here and there in the grid ecosystem, but basically you can pinpoint any element in the DOM or in the grid container, to be more precise, to be at any point in the grid. So I can say I want the second item to be in the grid column 1 and I want it to have in the grid row 1, and that means it's at position 1, 1. I can also move it to... Well, now the interesting point would be what it would do if I have some conflicting things. So I want to start this in grid column 2, span 2. So I want to start this in the second column, and I want to have it that it spans, that it takes up 2 columns. What happens if I say this one I want to also start this in the second column and in the first row, then it puts this one in the second one. Because I haven't specified here a row, I just said it should stay in the column. It should start in the second column, but I didn't say in which row. What happens if I say here quit row 1? Okay, then it's conflicting. Now you see it's overlapping. So this quit mechanism is really powerful and really intelligent, I would say, in positioning things. So you basically say what you expect to be placed where in the quit, and the quit system tries to fulfill all the requirements. Let's reload to be up to date again. So this works now. The how we get the second entry. Well, we can do it simple and say well, either this one, also here Copilot reads our thoughts. So we pick the second item. It starts at column 3 because the first one goes from the first one and span 2. We can do this and it works. Another way would have been to select the first one and then having the sibling selector, like first child plus list item. This would also have worked. But yeah, that's in principle it. So I'm not happy with the layout and the UI. That all has to be changed or adapted. And feel free to jump in. No, I'm not unfortunately I'm not a designer. So any kind of input on how to style things, let me know. Because I like very clean layout, but unfortunately I'm not very good in coming up with such. But okay, now it's here, no? So we have this one. Let's put some border here. So this is our code container, and then every list item gets this one. So this works. The first one is a span of 2 and the second one as well. So let's see how this works out. And then on top of that, some blog posts have descriptions, and I think that's the part where it's getting a bit how to say, I need to be a bit careful how long this text will be, how long this description will be. Why actually? Well, that's another reason. Another problem. This font, how does it get here? It's not the font that I actually use. possible there's something messed up in my build. This is not the bold B font. It's using this for cursive, okay. Yeah, but this is the idea. Or it was at least my idea. Also, I saw this, let's make some note here. No. Let the first latest true blog post be bigger in size. But if you're interested in Copilot, so Copilot is this this AI pair programmer similar to Tab9 and so on. I have this installed. I also have the Vim plugin installed. Maybe we can do some experiment. But okay, this we have now. Maybe it makes sense that for the other blog posts we don't show the description. Oh, we have this collapsed, I don't know. Because the description might be very long. But the remaining space is quite narrow. So it's getting quite lengthy. By the way, if you don't know this is a details element. It's an actual HTML element. And basically you can put in metadata or summary or something like this. And you can also style this. Well, I put it in chat. Also, I have here another section on the side which is not popping up yet, but let's make this 100%. Yeah, this would look better, I would say, because in this side column there is this newsfeed, but I'm willing to move this out. Well, here it makes no difference because it's a simple list. But yeah, maybe it makes sense in the larger scale to put the... How does it work in this lower scale? It's simply below. Yeah, I don't know, it's too messy here. Too much stuff going on. So most probably I'm getting rid of this whole section, because then we have much more space here for the actual posts. And then I could also start way earlier with the media query to switch to the quick layout. Okay, let's see. Well, let's first commit this, because that was already something. What did I do here in the changelog? I just reformatted this one. Well, let's get rid of this. So we put in 4 columns, and the first 2 items basically bigger in size. This a fix. Increase column size by 1 and increase number of columns. Adapt first 2 blog posts. With this we are increasing the number of columns by 1. And give the first or the last 2 blog posts more space to breadth. Okay. And that's working the same one with my notes. So I have basically on my on my page I have blog posts which are more in detail and notes which are just basically, well, some notes in between. Right now they work the same kind of layout way, but probably this is also not the latest change there. But now design-wise I would like to have some kind of card layout which is a bit nicer than just the text. Why do I need to log in? Okay, let's make it like that. Yeah, I don't have images yet on. Okay, this is anyhow a bit broken, but I don't have images on most of my blog posts yet. So something CSS card image. Okay, no, that's not what I want. But yeah, this, so if you have a use case like that with a huge image, then this is a nice effect. But I'm even not sure if the element it's not getting bigger. I was just thinking of because if you increase the size of one of the items in an animation, then the other ones in the row will grow, because that's what Quid is about, that it's basically giving all items in one row have the same how to say, the same size. So if I say to this one here, I say 8,000 pixel, then all of them should be 1000 pixel at least. Yeah, exactly. So what's not really nice, I would say, in Quid, or not really good to do in Quid, is having size transformations, because then the whole row is shrinking, increasing. Well, it depends on the use case. I just want to have some idea of a blog post card layout. Well, first of all, I would start with making the headlines bigger. This is 20 pixels. So this is my template written in Trig. Okay, so I have a post. No, wait a second, this is the wrong one. I have a list item. I would say in BEM structure this is a list item title. And this is a list item description. And then the description, well, this I would do in general, not only for the larger screens. This is the list item title. Okay. Copilot says the description should have a margin top of 5 pixels. Well, let's take this as well, and I would say the font size should be smaller than the title. And I make this relative to the li, which has 20. Okay, now this has some margin top. And then the list item. So this is basically the situation, or the quit layout. Quit layout switch, let's call it like that. So here so let's give here the some border. Let's move the border radius. also have some nice shadow here. Okay. Well, the not so nice thing about the border, well, and the box shadow, of course, is for the blog posts that don't have a description, that you clearly see this white space of a box. So I either need to make sure that, well, in best case, all of them should have some sort of description. So either I need to make sure this, or, well, it's about not using this. Oh wait, I just saw that I don't have box sizing border box on these thingies. Ah, so one thing I saw, that basically box sizing is about which properties are part of the size of a container, of a box. And I just saw when I added the border or removed it, you see the elements are jumping. And that's because the box sizing model is not set to border box, which would include the border. So if I say the element should be 200 pixel wide, then it includes the border. And now it does not, that's why it jumps. It's adding the 1 pixel on the top and bottom and left and right. Well, that's in principle something that you add as a first reset on every CSS element. So normally I have a rule like this on star, on before and after you say border, box sizing border box. It's a shame that I didn't do this before, but okay. And now if you change it, it's not changing the layout completely. One second. Okay, sorry. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what to do with this thingy, with the styling. So if any one of you has some idea for some nice card styling, they really have some problems to find some sort of CI for my blog that's nice looking. Well, I could do something funny like a it's not dashed. What is the other one? I could put some border like this around, but this looks horrible. So I could match the color that is this one. No, this looks ugly and it's not accessible. So yeah, I'm not sure about what to do with this, but well, at least the items are now in the proper spot how I want to have it. So the latest two blog posts have the most visual appearance, at least from the sizing perspective, not necessarily from a styling perspective. I'm also not sure about how to have some nice styling for this details component. Well, they have some examples on the MDN page, but well, those are also not very attractive to me. I'm not sure if there's something on MDN for that. Well, at least this looks not too bad. So they just put a background there. One thing I want to do is in this situation, in the not quit situation, I probably want to hide the description because it's too much clutter. Also, the entries should have some more spacing between. Because it's not clear, is the date for this one or is it the date for the actual entry second? Yeah, I think I take out the description here. Let's see. So in the mobile first use case, having the description. So actually this one is for the quit case. List item. Description. Well, this is actually for the paragraph tag inside the description. Margin 0. And then we can delete this. What? Okay. And then here the list item description first is not shown at all. Oh, wait a second. I was in the wrong position. List item. And here, of course, we have to set then display block again. And then let's also give them a bit more spacing here. The single entries. So here is item. Let's give them more. So one RAM should be, in my case right now, 16 pixels, but this varies what the font size is. So the default font size in the browser is normally is 16 pixels, but it depends on the user what he says in the settings of the browser. So if you have some user that has some disabilities in regard of well, he maybe cannot read or he needs basically have a bigger font size, then he basically can change the default font size in the browser and things like that. So don't expect that the font size in the browser is always 16 pixels. It's not. here, of course, we don't need the margin because we have here the quit gap. So in the quit mode in the media query, we make sure we don't put extra margins. And then yeah, here about border, I'm not sure. I would not do the border for now because of this situation that you see a lot of visual blank space related to this entry. And also the box shadow, of course. And like this, you basically just see, like in a newspaper, you see the articles. But still, it's, well, it's not super nice, but at least it's a better usage of the spacing that I have. And well, I need to do the same for the nodes. Probably. So in Trick you have these partials which are templates, sub-templates so to say. But in Trick there are also macros and stuff like that. I assume because right now the nodes and the blog posts are done 100% the same, but in two templates. So there is the blog posts one. So it's actually it's the same, but I have to do the job twice, and which is making not much sense. It would make sense at the very point that these things render differently. That's why I made two separate partials out of them. That should be it now. Yes, now they are visually the same way. Okay. Okay, then about the side column with the news feed. So basically I have a lot of news feeds that I read, and I favorite some of them, and then they're basically popping up here. But actually I think it's not very nice put in here. But okay. I need to also look at the focus styling. And also also want to emulate the color scheme. So this is my dark color scheme. Which also looks not very nice, I have to say. The color scheme could be better. Background dark tag. It's this one here. This brown color that is here, I don't like it anymore. We also need to look at accessibility. Oh, is this accessible? Let's check. How do I get a hex value? There's a tool by Neovim which is called contrast ratio. There's also, and it follows the standards on contrast ratio. There's, which is normally also built in your browser. So when you select an entry, where can I show you this? Actually, why it's not showing up? Ah, here you can see accessibility. You see contrast 9.75 and it's check mark, so this means this is accessible following, I don't know which standard it is. There are 3 different levels, A, AA and AAA. I'm actually not sure against which one it's testing it. But now this update thingy, I'm not sure this is accessible. So this is 9944161 in the background 994161, and this is white. Okay, it is. The value of 639, and this passes AA. AAA for large text. It also depends on the font size. So for AA it's enough, for AAA it depends on the font size. Okay, but yeah, I don't like the colors, but I have to check this. some point. Wait, how did I ended up here? Yeah, okay. Well, at least we got the quit layout working here. It's still not very nice. I would also like to have, I don't know, maybe some fancy rendering of the latest two entries. But that's maybe for another stream. Also to focus. Well, let's do one thing. I saw we had this this better detail rendering. Let's put this inside. Now I close it. So what did we do? We put the box sizing border box, which I shameless thing on me. I didn't have in place. And we worked on the list item. We added some styling there. Okay, I still have a work in progress commit there. And let's add everything. So we fixed the CSS grid layout. No, wait, we fixed the list item styling. Better spacing. This we adapt the style of the list items to give more space to breathe. In the mobile view, we do not show the potential post descriptions. Although on the grid view, hey, hello. Well, what I'm actually working on is my page. Let's see. And thanks for following. So I'm working on my on my blog. Loo or loose? Okay, well I will probably go with loose because I'm not very familiar to Loo. But yeah, I'm basically working on my page, which is which has some content, but it's not very nice looking. And basically what I started looking into is having a CSS grid layout. I'm not sure if you heard about that. So there is Flexbox, which is a layout mechanism, and there is a grid. And for whatever reason, this thing is no longer working. Exactly. So I'm working on for larger viewports to have this working in a grid-like layout. So having the latest true items having a bit more space. And actually, normally you can click on this grid icon here in the dev tools. But let's reload the tab. Maybe something is not working there. But basically the first two items have it's on the notes. Here it is. I was on the wrong component. So the first two items have more space, and then we basically have 4 columns, and then the other ones go in single column each. It's not the final layout, it's just a start. But yeah, step by step. So I'm working on this. I also said that if you have some recommendations for colors or stylings, I'm very helpful for that, because I'm not a designer. I have problems finding my own, I don't know. Basically, I have problems finding the layout for how this block should be. Do you write your own blocks? You mean technically building it, or you mean writing content? So both from my side, but yeah. Yeah, I'm writing content. Well, it's like with everything, no, you basically have to set some goals with the things. And I had some blocks before. I think I have another one which is not devs, but the German layout. Okay, I have some. I played with browser notifications here. But yeah, that's more my personal blog. But well, you see, I haven't written something here for a long time. Yeah, for this one. This is more my technical blog. I try to write every now and then, every month or so, but even that isn't working out well if you see the dates, so it's not. I try to write something there continuously, but yeah, it's I try my best, but I miserably fail sometimes. Yeah, color schemes is a nice topic. Okay, so we got this working. I'm just writing the commit for this. In the mobile view, we do not show the description. Also in grid view, within the query. Maybe you cannot share the link in this Stream Elements chat. That might be. So I need to look at this later. Yeah, exactly. Okay. In the mobile view, we do not show the potential. So in the grid view, we do. Okay. Now we have done this. 1 second. Okay, sorry. So we done this. Now I want to look at this simple details element styling. So in the end what they did here is basically just having some background. How would this be? So on all the details. Okay, maybe depending on the color, that might be something. But I can also style the marker. The main problem I have with this details element, but that's probably an accessibility topic, is that it's visually quite prominent, which I don't want it to be. But well, accessibility wise you need to know that you can toggle this, so there needs to be some kind of accordion styling or something. But I think I have the... I closed it, oh nice. But I think I had some styling for the... So this is the list, but... For the update tag, which is this one. Well, is this accessibility correct? One question, how can I'm in the Chrome Dev Tools and I have this background color which is referring to this variable, this custom variable. It says it's not defined, but it is. If I undo this, it is there. So I assume it's something in Chromium not understanding that this is defined. Oh, what is this? Background light tag. Background light tag. Kronikova. How did I come up with this name? Wasn't this a tennis player? Ah, well here I can see it. Here I have the hex value. So this is the hex value of the background. Ooh. And the foreground is black, I would say, no? Light color, light tag. I just want to see if this is accessible color light tag. No, it's not black. It's another black. Okay, that's also working. Well, I put this in the chat. This website. It's a website by Lea Viru. I don't know if you don't know her. She's amazing. I don't know if what she does right now, but she did a lot of she wrote this book CSS Secrets, which is I would say if you're interested in CSS and getting the latest secrets out of there, that's definitely something to look at. She was doing a lot of conference talks and well, her style of conference talks was crazy because she started on a blank page and then was building up, I don't know, like a pie chart within 45 minutes or something in pure CSS or something like that, and she's crazy in a good sense. Yeah, for example, I think she built up this pie chart in CSS in a conference talk where I was back in time, and she basically built this website for contrast ratio checking, and this tool also says to you which level it checks or which level it passes. So there are different, when it comes to contrast ratio, there are different, there's a standard which is by this WCAG consortium, and if you have accessibility guidelines, there are different levels. It goes from level A to AA to AAA level, and AAA is basically the golden standard. There's nothing, well, you could do better, but it's already very strict guidelines, and it's hard to even get there. And but it basically says in this situation with the background this color and being the text color like this, we pass AAA level for any size text, because this also depends the contrast. The contrast ratio for accessibility also depends on the font size, which is somewhat making sense. If you have a small text, you need a better contrast, or you need to be more precise with the contrast. Whereas if you have a huge font size, which is anyhow better to read, it's less strictly, I would say. So this value passes for everything that I want to check. So how did we even get there? And well, if you want to read more about accessibility and standards, so this is how normally such a standard page, standard description looks like. So this is from the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, version 2.1. It has a date, and then you have all these sections in there. It's like a book in the end. So yeah, if you have any kind of thing you want to read through, this exists for HTML, for CSS, for JavaScript. You can actually look up the written down specs, and browser vendors have to fulfill these specs. So basically the browser vendors know these documents by heart, and they build up the browser to fulfill the requirements, the success criterion in in these descriptions. I think so. If you go to w3org, go here to standards, you have here the whole overview. Let's pick HTML, CSS. Current status of specifications. Somewhere there's the whole list of specs there are. Let's go here. This looks better. Well, there are specifications about all kind of things. All standard and draft. So here, this is like a search machine for standards. So we could, for example, look up HTML5, and here you have the spec of HTML5. So you could go to the details element. It's not there. Why it's not there? Well, but you get basically have the document metadata, for example, the title, and then you have the technical specs in here. And basically these kind of things which look a bit weird to you, those are for the browser vendors, that they know, okay, this is a type definition, this is an HTML title element, and well, it gets a DOM string text, which is basically the title. So yeah, it was, well, this was a bit too much going into different scenes, but yeah, if you're interested in something like that, it's there for everything. So here you have the different HTML elements. Let's say the paragraph tag. And there are things like this: tag omission in text, paragraph elements and tag may be omitted if the paragraph element is immediately followed by an address, article, blah blah blah. So these are things I never knew about, but it's in there because browsers have to understand this. But actually I would always say go to MDN and look up for paragraph element, and you have it. It's the standard documentation, and there are also link outs to the other page, I think, in here. So MDN, I would say, is the go-to resource. So here you have the specification, and if I click on here, I'm coming back to a similar page like the one I showed you. So yeah. Well, back to my problem. The contrast, let's swap the colors. Is this also working? Yeah, okay. So what if I say that details, what did I do? So this is how I made up my CSS for now. I'm using post CSS, I think. So I have, for the different visual sections, I have CSS, here with some variable declarations. Well, maybe let me open this up in Visual Studio Code, because one thing I'm still looking for is in Neovim, the editor I'm using right now, is having a preview of the color in here. So this refers to color, but Neovim has some problems to understand the syntax because it's CSS. And I haven't found a nice Neovim plugin for that. Or did I? So these are all my editor plugins that I have. I had this Vim Sass colors, but it's that was not working for me. So yeah, let's go in here. So basically I have here the color definitions, and then inside here the actual CSS for this topic. Like here the typography. I have one for links. Well, you don't need to do it like that, but that's how I came up with it. So let's make one for details. So we need a background color. And those go always to the root. Well, I'm lazy, I'm copying them from here. So my idea was that in my light theme the details background should be this Kearney cover color. And the color should be this. And the same for here. And then here we say background light details, color, light details, and on media query prefers color scheme dark. That's the way it is. Oh, there's no auto completion here. Color scheme dark. Let's copy this, and it's dark details. Dark details, and then we just need to include this, import this in here. What? we go back here, nothing to see. Well, let's restart, because I changed something on the main CSS file. Nope. Well, that's in the CSS bundle. Do I have a spelling error? Background light details. Ah, here it is. Computed background. Background light details. What did I do wrong? Ah, yeah, I'm stupid. I need to import the variables, of course. Okay. Oh, no, that's maybe a bit too much. Also, let's give this a bit padding. I don't know, that's too visual appealing. It's too visual clumsy. It's visually too important. Yeah, maybe it's just I don't know. It's the description, of course, I want to that they see it, but it's not that important that it looks nice with a yellow background. It's even striking in my eyes. And I had this color here. Well, I have no real idea what to do with this. But I want to have I want to have this as how to say, with the most minimal impact on the visual side as possible, the description, because it's just some side information. It's not very important. So yeah, maybe I also take it out again. Let me remove the was. No, that's horrible. Okay, I would say I keep it like that for now. At least there's more spacing here on the items that we did. And we use the space that we get when we have a larger viewport for the entries. I think I will also kill this news feed here because it's, I don't know, it's hanging around there on the side. It's not making very much sense there. Yeah, but let's wrap it up like this for now. So we have these 4 columns, we have the good gap between. The latest 2 entries have more space for themselves, and then the other one go into one block each. Well, this we can kill again. We don't need this. Well, let me clean up the commit messages. And let me please copy. So we base it to this commit. We squash these comments. So we are squashing. So we have 3 commits right now, and we are squashing them together to 1. And by doing that, you also can change the commit message again. So I will do that. And now I have here the 1 commit that contains all 3 together. So we named this feature. Good view on landing. With this we introduce a new good view on the landing page as soon as the viewport exceeds a certain point. Let me remove this. In the mobile view we do not show the potential post description, also in the grid view we do, yeah. Okay, this we can delete. We in the grid layout different. The grid layout is built out of 4 columns. Where the last 2 posts in the list have a column span of 2. The remaining items take 1 cell each. Okay, we push this. And then GitHub here. Great, is it like that? So we are using now the GitHub API, which I like very much. So you can basically communicate with GitHub on the CLI base. Title, yes, okay. Enter to skip and submit. And now if I go to this URL, we should have the PR. There it is. And now my Vercel is building up a preview. Okay, so this is something we should have added from the startup. That's normally, if you do a new project, that's what you normally do at the beginning. You set all elements to box sizing border box. Wait, what do we do with this thingy? Okay, it goes here. We adapted the templates. One thing I want to see, so I have 2 different templates for blog posts and notes in Twig, but is there a way to have one to have macros in Twig? Okay, there's. Maybe I will encapsulate the generation of these entries into a macro. But yeah, I will see. Now this preview, is this working? There it is. Okay, well, it's not so much progress that I made today, but at least something. And yeah, I'm thinking the next thing I will do is kill this newsfeed here. Okay, cool. Then I will merge this pull request. And then in some minutes we have it on the live system. Also, I saw that Dev.to has a hackathon about GitHub Actions. And I will probably participate because I wanted to do some more GitHub Actions for my repositories, but I think I never started too much of it. So GitHub Actions, I don't know if... So what are GitHub Actions? Are basically for your continuous integration process to basically have... You can do whatever you want. You can do on a commit level or on a PR level. So here are the different actions or trigger points. So when you do a pull request, when you release something, when somebody comments something on an issue, you can trigger things, you can trigger actions. And well, this exists basically whether you are on GitLab, on GitHub, or everywhere. You have these kind of possibilities to trigger something, to have a workflow here. But well, GitHub Actions is quite powerful because, well, the market is huge. Where is the marketplace? Actions. So in the GitHub marketplace you can search for actions, and well, there's basically a whole world on things like monitoring. There's everything. There are things for testing. So you can build a Docker image, you can test things. It's and basically the hackathon is about creating new actions. And then you can basically submit them to Dev.to or something like that, to the hackathon team, and then so there are also this hashtag blog post workflow with GitHub Actions. That might be something for me. Okay, what does it do? Latest blog post workflow. So this is using a cron. It runs every hour. Update readme with blog update. This post readme with latest blog posts. Okay. It pulls in the Dev.to posts and then... interesting. So he did this. This is the GitHub profile page, so to say. So everyone that has a GitHub account has this, can make a repository named exactly the same as your username, and you can put a README in there. So if someone goes to your GitHub profile, he sees that README. And what he did is basically making a GitHub action. As soon as he posts something on Dev.to, basically he triggers this action to get this list into his README. That's cool. Well, I could do the same, no? And how does it do it? Check out, pull in Dev.to posts. Okay, and then here's the actual workflow. And then he puts these HTML comments into the README markdown file. And I think then his logic is replacing this by the actual list. Well, that's cool. So how does mine look like? It's pretty small one. Yeah. So this is my README, and then basically I could put in here also my Dev.to posts. Well, that's nice. Yeah, but actually basically Dev.to has this hackathon about GitHub Actions, and Yeah, probably I will do a stream on that because I want to learn about this. And this one's from is open until 8th of December. So you can submit your actions until 8th of December, and then on 17th of December the winners will be announced. Let me put this into chat. Okay, well, by now my blog should be updated, and there it is. Oh my god. Oh, I found it. I found a problem. I found a bug. I deployed a bug. Because what did I do? I did these changes with the grid on the list class, and I used the same list class on the CSS feed. So what happened? Well, the styling also supplied on the CSS feed, which I didn't want to do. So let me bring in a fix for that. And this fix will be that I will define a new modifier class for list. There's already list big, list small. Let me define list. Good. Well, the name is horrible, but and then I will basically need to put this in front of every selector, because otherwise these rules get applied to every list item, not only the one from the grid list. And well, actually I don't know if it works. Does it still build? Yes. This should already work. And then in the template, I need to say this is list grid. Oh my god. Okay, well actually it's correct. The indentation, blog posts and notes. And then this should work. I cannot find a font. Why it cannot find the fonts? Because I'm not running this script. Well, okay, that has something to do with my local setup, which is not super nice. So now this is working. And now the DSN is failing. Which is in here. Which is because of my end file. If I take this out. Why does it even go in here? Oh, it's a string. Okay. How do I denote null in the end world? Is it like that? This is also a string, no? Undefined. So how can I unset end variable? Just with an equal sign? Now it's string null. So what do I do with this rollup config? Why is it null string? Why? Okay, now it's full. Well, for now, disable it. Okay, cannot read the newsfeed, that's why it's not showing up here, but how can I unset or not set an env at all? Like this, isn't it? Then it should be undefined. Oh, they really check it with type of. Okay, type of is undefined, but how can the variable itself be the string undefined? Okay, now it's undefined. And not the string undefined. Well, not sure what the problem was, but that should have worked. Maybe I didn't reload. I changed the environment, the end file after starting the watch here. I changed the end file, and maybe that's where it got weird. But okay, let's assume this is here. And this newsfeed is something I did in Preact. And there's that the list is list small. So this should work. Now the point is to make this a bit nicer. Could I use the could I do it like this, like in the SAS world? I don't think so, no? Okay, but this should work. So basically everything is part of the quit modifier. So this still works. Okay, this was merged. Let's fix the quit layout or the newsfeed list. Okay, we need the CSS and we need the templates. We don't need the details. Sketch restore, staged, assets, CSS details. Should have deleted this one. Okay. Fix. Do not apply quit styling on CSS newsfeed list. This we fix that the quit styles we defined earlier are not applied on the CSS newsfeed list items by defining a new modifier class list quit. Okay, let's make another PR for that. Okay. So in the media query we changed to be everything scoped in the quit modifier. Okay. Well, the main problem is a technical one on my side, that this newsfeed thingy is not well configured on my side on on Vercel nor locally, so I didn't saw the bug. Classical problem. Hi Taishi. Well, I'm basically working on my website, which I basically broke with this CSS layout problem. So it's a classical problem that I applied styles on elements that I should not have applied for. No, but actually what we were doing is working with CSS Grid. So let's do this. So basically, depending on how large my screen, my viewport is, I show my blog post in a grid layout. So my layout, despite the fact that it's layout-wise, UI-wise not very nice, I know all that, but in principle the first two list items have a true column space each, and then the next items are all in their own cells here. So that's what you can do in grid layout, and before it basically was like that. It was a simple list with native styling, so not very much. So I basically just did this change. When I go bigger in size, then they look like this in some kind of grid-ish layout. And now I try to fix my bug that I introduced 5 minutes ago. And yeah, that's basically it. So I merged this PR as well, and I hope that then in a few seconds this gets deployed to Netlify. So for my testing deployment I use Vercel, which is quite nice to set up with GitHub PR reviews and so on. I think it's also possible in Netlify to do this, but then basically my production ready is deployed with Netlify. So I also can do a shout out to Vercel and Netlify. Well, Vercel is pretty popular because of Next.js, the React framework that they build up. But yeah, I don't know. I personally like Netlify a bit more. I don't know why. It's just some personal feeling. Okay, let's see now. It hopefully is fixed. Yes, now it's fixed. So now I created this new modifier class. That's how this thing with 2 dashes is called. So it's list grid, and then it has this grid layout. And this newsfeed thingy, which I'm probably going to kill anyhow at some point, does not have this list grid. If I would add it now here, let's make this bigger, that you can see it. List grid, then it would look broken like it was before. Because then this thing gets to grid layout as well, which I don't want to be the case. So yeah, I'm playing around with my website, but I'm open for any topics. So if you have something that you would like to discuss, or you have some, I don't know, you worked on something, let me know. Normally I also like to browse through Dev.to, which is a web dev community. They have all kind of blog posts and so on. But okay, working wise, that's all I want to do today on the stream. But yeah, I'm still not happy with the layout and stuff like that. But yeah, it is what it is for now. So we have this list styling here. I gave this a bit more spacing as well, which I like. And then as soon as we get bigger in size, probably we could also arrange the viewport to be at this level, I don't know. But then I basically switch it to this one. Okay. But yeah, that's more or less it. Yeah. I'm still not super happy with that, but as I said, I have really problems to find some CI for my, so some corporate identity, how you call it, for my blog visually. Yeah. I'm not a designer, unfortunately, so I think I have some eye for what good design is about. So I have another topic here, which is not good design, is that, well, the font phase itself is, I need to change that. It's, I don't know in which world and at which time I like this font phase, which is bold B1. But yeah, it's too clumsy. And also, like these sections here, so we have a title and then we have we have multiple paragraphs. The visual separation between the paragraph before and the actual paragraph that the heading belongs to is not clear. It has the same spacing to both sides. So actually this should be something like, I don't know, yeah, most probably these should be wrapped into sections or something, but well, to make my point clear, I would expect that it looks like this. Let's say H2. Well, let's make it, you see the point, let's make it 5 rem. It's too much, but now it's clear this belongs to this belongs to this section. And it's getting a bit clearer than this. So there's still a lot to do there. But yeah, I do it step by step. And also this font face, I need to kill it. Bold B1 SC. Yeah, I don't know. There was some point in time where I liked this font face, but this time is gone. Speaking about fonts, there's some nice guy on the web. I forgot the link, sorry. Sorry, I just forgot his name. Shame on me. Also my music stopped. Oliver Schöndorfer. He's known as Cliff on the web. So shout out to him. He has basically he has also a newsletter, Pimp My Type, and he has a nice YouTube channel. So if you want to learn something about font faces, font design, and which fonts to combine, and well, to learn what kind of mistakes I did in my layout here, then he is the guy, or he is a good guy to explain this. And yeah, he already has a lot of content out there, and well, there can be more subscribers. He really deserves it. And this is his website. Okay. Well, I would say that's it for today. Are we going to wait one? Let's see who's online. Who is in software development? Someone out there? Well, let's go to Classic Cat. I haven't traded him since some time. Yeah, let's see. Say nice words to him, and yeah, we will probably see each other next week. Yep. Have a good sunny evening. Bye bye.